Good afternoon, class. How are we doing today?
This is your
good.
Class. Hey.
Very good. All right. Today we're going to give a demonstration on chicken Normandy. At this point, you're going to need this for your midterm, and we're going to start here. The first thing I have is obviously chicken breast. Chicken Normandy is chicken with apples. Historically, it's veal Normandy, and it's a very, very popular dish in France. Matter of fact, it's a very classical dish. All right, we're going to do it with chicken here for our midterm, due to the fact that the expense for using veal is out of control for a high school class. But I've always had great results with chicken. I've put chicken on menus in restaurants that I've worked, so believe me, it works very, very well. First thing you want to do is, with your chicken breasts, you want to season them, salt and pepper. I'll create my own little salt and pepper mix right here. Notice I have this chicken on basically some plastic that I use to pound out the chicken. All right. Notice you need to do both sides of this. If you happen to have a large quantity of these you have to do, it's easier to put it all on a sheet tray, salt and pepper the sheet tray first, then put the chicken down. That way one side is done, and then all you have to do is do the top part. All right, there's a little helpful hint for you to get things when you need to rock and roll. All right, a lot of places out there do not salt and pepper their meats. I think that's a travesty. You really need to do this. All right, at this point, we're going to add a little oil. We have canola oil. It's a nice high heat oil. I only want like a tablespoon in there. All right, saute means to jump in French. So I'm going to put the oil in there. The pan was getting hot as we were speaking. And at this point, getting nice and hot. All right. I'm looking at the bottom of the pan. I'm looking for the waves that are coming up. All right. Off on an angle, I can see the waves. Tells me it's about 225, 250. I want a little bit hotter temp. I'm looking for about 3 1/4, 4. 350 to 400 degrees. That's what I want to have for this size cutlet. All right, let's see, crank this all the way. Normally it wouldn't take this long on a regular burner, which is putting out 25,000 BTUs. This one obviously isn't as good. All right, at this point, I'm starting to see a little shimmer in the pan. I'm going to put this in. Notice you're going to put the presentation side down. That would be this side, the presentation side. All right, that goes down first in the pan. Okay. Now, this is where most rookies get into trouble. They want to manipulate. I want to cook, chef. I want to manipulate this. Let it sit, let it brown. You really want to get good caramelization on that Maillard's reaction, the caramelization of protein. It is critical. It's what you want to do, right? This table's a little off center. I'm not going to move the pieces of chicken. I'm just going to move the fat a little bit around to the other side to help me out. All right, I want some nice color on these. Now, most people say, chef, when do I turn it? I look at the outer edge, all right? As proteins coagulate, which means they start to cook, the proteins tighten up, all right, and they change color. They go from a raw state to a cooked state. So as those proteins are coagulating or cooking, all right, they're also, the internal sugars from the meat itself are helping in Maillard's reaction to brown. All right, caramelization of sugars occur at 320 to 350. All right, and that's what's actually occurring here. So I want some real nice color on these. We're getting close. I want to take a peek, but I don't think, a little longer. Gonna manipulate my fat a little bit more.
You just take as long as a regular.
No, this will not take as long. This would have been done already on the regular stove. I'm doing it here because you can all watch around it. It's hard to see it from a stove's perspective. Also harder to film. All right, at this point, I like the way it's going up the product in cooking, right? I'm gonna flip it over. Notice the color, nice, brown, right? Notice there's not a lot of oil left in the pan. I kind of like that. If you do it right, you shouldn't end up with any oil in the pan, just what I've done here. Right, there's still enough oil.
You need a pan to put it into,
right,
move it out?
No, put it right in the plate. I'll put this as it's cooking nicely there. Now, how do I know it's done? All right, guys, rare, right? When you poke it, hold it out straight, medium, tuck it in, throw this here, well. You poke it, all right? You actually poke it, all right? At this point, I like where it is. It's a little medium rare for me, but what do we have going on here, people? Carryover temperature, outstanding. Carryover temperature is going to continue to cook that meat. All right, at this time, I'm going to put this off. All right, I'm going to deglaze this. In reality, I would deglaze this pan, right, with brandy. All right, I would add some brandy to it. I'm going to let this cool down a little bit. I would have had oil in here. So I'm going to let the pan cool a second, and I'm going to chop up a shallot, right, for this, okay? Now, the shallots, you cut it like any onion, all right? You don't need a lot of shallot, believe it or not. That's enough shallot right there. You only need like a tablespoon. That's it, that's plenty. All right, because I don't have a lot of oil in this pan, normally would add more oil. Rather than add oil, I'm gonna add my favorite friend, butter. All right? Pan is still hot enough. I'm gonna add my shallots to this. All right, I'm gonna shake this around. Get my shallots a little soft. They're not gonna take a long time due to the fact that they're basically, all right, cut very small. All right, at this point, because the pan has been off the heat, I'm gonna reintroduce heat to this, all right? I'm gonna add a little bit of chicken stock. Normally, I'd be adding brandy to this, but we're a school, right? All right. Actually, the brandy you'd be using is Calvados. All right, Calvados is actually an Applejack brandy or an apple brandy. Here in America, we used to have Applejack, which I think is just as good. All right, and it works out very nice. Now, you'll notice I didn't put in, because according to your recipe, you need 4 ounces of each. I didn't put it all in. Why? Anybody recall why? Oh, I love Mr. Haas. That was outstanding. You want to build levels of, it's like a pyramid. The more levels of flavor you have in here, the better your food's going to taste. All right? So I'm going to let this actually cook down a little bit. While it's doing that, I'm going to prepare my apple for this. All right? Apple. Peel the apple. All right, peeling our apple, put that back in here. All right, and cut the apple in half. You're only gonna need half. All right. Give our pan a little shake. At this point, we're going to introduce a little bit more chicken stock. And we have a clear apple cider. Personally, I like the rough apple cider myself. All right. Going to take out the core, just like this, by placing the melon baller in, Parisian scoop, same guy. Right? And then I'm going to take out these pieces over here by cutting this like so. Putting a little V on each side. All right? What you do to the bottom, you need to do to the top. Pop that out. Very nice. Gonna need to cut my apples. All right, like that. Nice, thin. Right. Didn't go through all the way. Whoop, shame on me. There we go. Don't make them too thin, but don't make them too thick either. You just want to have them start weeping and wilting. All right.
Are the apples going to be on the dish here?
Yes. Yep, you're actually going to incorporate the apples, okay? Now, at this point, I'm going to add more of each. And at this point, I'm going to add my apples. Fan out your apples so they all get covered. They'll all cook a little quicker that way. More surface area. Tidy up our little workstation here, because I think that's important, working clean. In competitions, you have edible waste and you have non-edible waste, okay? This would be a non-edible waste, although if you had a compost pile, and I always suggest you say those things to the judges, well, we have a compost pile and we believe in greening and giving back to nature, all right? And if you turn it into it, life will be good. All right, at this point, this is working nicely. We're going to incorporate a little sage to this. All right, salvia, beautiful stuff. Salvia in Italian, sage, American. It's got a great, great flavor. God, I love the flavor of sage. It goes well with so many dishes. All right, especially apples. And this dish, it's very, very good.
What's it taste like?
All right, you know what? Great idea. Everybody, take a little piece, give a little chew, right? Little learning is good. I'm going to chiffonade this slightly, cut up in little pieces. All right, just like that. This is what I'm looking for. Nice, fine little pieces like this. I'm going to throw it in. All right.
Oh, I like it.
We've also done this with, we do a brown butter sage sauce with sweet potato gnocchi. All right, as this is coming down, and it is working nicely.
I feel like it's stuck on my tongue.
All right, I'm going to add a little bit of butter to this. Add a little salt and pepper. As it's working in. You're going to notice that the butter helps thicken it in the reduction along with the gelatinous property of your chicken stock. That's why using homemade stocks is always going to give you a better flavor and taste. At this point, I'm going to reintroduce my chicken back into the sauce to warm it up briefly. All right? Okay, Okay, at this point I'm going to flip this over so the other side can warm up also. I'm not really cooking it in here, I want to warm it. Okay, at this point in time, we're looking real good. We're going to take our chicken out of our saute pan. We do not want to cook this too much. All right. Finish just with a touch more butter. All right. Gonna give this a little taste. All right. Notice what's going on here. You see this, the thickening property of this? Now, obviously, I have a lot more sauce than I need. I made this for 2 of these. Usually, you can only serve 1 per person. But because I have a lot of students here, you know, and I know you all want some of this.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Now, look at this. Notice how it's coming back together. The thickness, all right, of this sauce, the syrupiness, right? It's reducing down absolutely perfectly. Again, you don't need a lot of product for this. A lot of, it's to accompany, not to mask. Right? At this point, I'd say we're done. All right?
Beautiful.
All right? And there we go. Incorporate a little sauce on this side.
So we only
right.
chop off a quarter of an apple.
So this ends our Chicken Normandy demo. Thank you very, very much.